There
Okay,
you are. How you doing, Mike?
Good to go. Good to go. But I tell you something. For the first time in a long time, I'm out of words. I have no idea what to talk about tonight.
What? You're out of words. Well, Mike, let me tell you something. Before you came on, we played me interviewing you 9 years ago about the 5 waves of energy. Then I played a little clip of me. I interviewed you 7 years ago. And then that was in 2018. And you predicted in that interview, I was talking to you about the 5 waves of energy. And he said, let me just tell you something. On November 9th, there's going to be a wave that's going to hit the sun and the earth. It's going to affect things. And it did, Mike. I just pulled it up on the internet, and it talks about this X 1.8 class that hit the sun. The CME released. The plasma burst hit the earth, and it affected the magnetosphere. And so, everything you said happened on the very day you said it was going to happen, about a week before it happened. And so tonight, Mike, but can I start with the 5 waves of energy?
Sure.
Where are we with that, and help people understand it?
Well, we still have more on the way, and essentially, Pastor Paul, what they are these huge pulses of deadly particles. I'm going to call them deadly now.
Deadly?
They've been changing. Yeah, they've been changing quite a bit. Each wave that we endure is quite significant. They're changing everything, and we're not done yet. So these things have an emission point. They certainly do have an emission point. That will become obvious soon enough. We live in a time where people are going to be able to verify their own information simply by going outside and looking up. But there is an emission point. The sad news, it won't stop. It's going to keep going. And it may be more than 5.
Okay.
When it's all said and done. But essentially, any particulates that are high energy exotic particles, if they hit our sun, right? Not only do they affect the sun, they affect all the planets, and they start to change the chemistry of, each planetary system. Well, that can't be good for biological life forms. And for a long time, there have been several tracks I've added to my analysis, especially biology and the human brain, all of which are being greatly affected by types of radiation that the Earth is enduring, right?
And when you say affected, do you mean cancer, or do you mean the temperament of people?
Well, cancer, the frontal lobe is being affected. Memory is being affected. Neurological systems overall being affected. People are experiencing the tingling and numbness, right? There's a phenomenon, right? That's going to begin, and everybody might want to be aware of this one.
What? Okay.
If you're in your house doing anything, people will begin to notice pretty strong electrical discharges coming from their bodies to, out from anything. Say you're holding your fork, you're about to eat dinner, right?
Yeah.
So you go down to chop your steak and bzz, you don't know where that came from. So it'll be light emissions coming off the tips of things. Everybody will experience this. So that phenomena is going to increase.
Wow. I mean, do we become, we're conduit. We have electricity flowing to us. I mean, we have the spark of life in us, but do we become a conduit? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you'll be like a static vessel of sorts, right? That can hold energy. I believe the human body already puts out something like, if we were to, in regards to British thermal units, I believe it's like 48 kBTU or something like that. So you generate quite a bit of electricity, right?
Okay.
The only difference is the atmosphere around you is about to be positively charged, right? But you're going to have negative vortices of negative charged particles all throughout that positive charge. So that means the average person is going to be walking around discharging on everything. It's not like rubbing your feet on a carpet and you get a shock at the wall. Right? It's not like that. You could be out in the middle of nowhere and still have that phenomena, right?
Wow.
So there will be, electrical discharges. why is this important? Because that will happen on the inside of the body too, right? It's going to be on the outside and the inside.
Now, Mike, is this because of the 5 waves of energy? Is this partly from that?
Part of what's being changed in our solar system, because the waves are not going to stop. These pulse bands are very strong, right? They're very strong. And they'll end up being quite significant, but they're not really going to talk about it. Everything is going to change around everybody. The agendas of the past, right, were made by people in think tanks.
I got you.
All of it has been scrubbed. Something far worse is in the makings.
Mike, how is everybody going to, is 8 billion people here on this planet? How is everybody going to be a part of this plan? Or do you, okay, help us talk.
Because the timing of it, right? They're timing everything. You got to keep in mind that there's some, if I can predict solar activity, they say solar activity cannot be predicted, right?
Right.
I think I've proven my point to those people at COT that yes, it can be predicted.
Yeah, I've seen you do it.
With solar activity being, how much more can they do with their, unlimited budgets in their laboratories? How much more can they do? So that tells you they know what's coming. They know what's developing, right? They know statistically who's going to survive it, who will not. So when you see these large scale plans be implemented, they're timing it towards some geological event or a set of events, right?
There's going to be...
believe me, it's going to be timed. It's going to be timed with a celestial event, geological event.
There you go.
We're not going to have all these people around here.
No, that's why I was saying I don't see how that they can have 6 billion people can't be a part of this. So they're going to have to be some kind of events that eliminate people. The Bible says there'll be at least 2 deep impacts that wipe out 1/3 of the population. Okay? That's in your word. The Bible talks about these plagues and pestilence and diseases that's going to take care of a bunch of people. It talks about radiation levels, that the water gets bitter, wormwood, and a bunch of people die. So if the Bible 2,000 years ago can prophesy what is going to happen, is it some of it man-made depopulation? I mean, will some of it be because of the 5 waves of energy? I mean, just help me understand.
I think a lot of it, I personally believe a lot of it is timed to cataclysms that they already know is developing.
Okay.
Right? They already know it's developing.
Okay.
So it's timed to that. And you got to think about some baseball, like a lot of the earth was down to about, they estimate it down to about 125,000 people not too long ago. And then it happened again, right? Where the earth was down to about, what they say it was, 65 million people. They said that had to be the maximum that was on this planet. Some things have happened, right?
Yeah.
Since the time of Christ.
Yes.
To this present day, some things have happened where we almost lost everybody, right? And so they know there are going to be more events like that. They know there will be.
Okay. Ancient apocalypse, ancient cataclysmic events have happened. We can study it. We know the flood for sure, but there's been a whole lot more than that. And so,
yes, in 70 AD, that's right.
And they know it's coming.
They know it.
So you're saying they already know we're either going to get hit with some deep impact, or there's going to be some cataclysmic events that they see coming. So they're going to time the depopulation agenda to the cataclysmic events.
Yeah, you're going to be dealing with a very controllable society at that point, right?
Yeah.
But even before we get there, let me ask you a question. When was the last time your audience, when was the last time they saw the homeless?
In other words, you're saying some of the homeless people are disappearing?
Yeah. When was the last time you saw the homeless?
I haven't been in California in a while. I mean, I used to see
You're not going to see them there too much. You're not going to see them there too. You're not going to see
Where are they going, Mike? What's happening? People just disappearing? Or are they taking them?
It's a question in it. It's illegal to be homeless in just about all the states now.
Yeah, I know. That's sad. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are they supposed to do then?
You have things happening. Passball.
All right.
That passball things are happening already, right?
I
it's
believe
almost
you.
like a sleight of hand.
Things
are happening all around us, and you can give hints but again, this is This is darkness.
Well, now can we bring up the fact that there was a time after World War II, we had the gulags, where that people were exterminated in Russia, especially. You know this, under the Soviet Union. I mean, I don't know how many million people. About 20 million people were killed after World War II, and a lot of folks were thrown into the gulags, which were work camps, and they worked till they died. And we know North Korea is doing it right now. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. So are you saying, even before the Nazis, I mean, so we know the Nazis did their thing, but it got way worse under Stalin. And so are you saying, is this kind of thing happening, or is it worse than that?
Some people have a blatant disregard for humanity in the first place. They don't care about humanity. They only care about their own positioning, right? Humanity is a tool for them. And anything they cannot produce is nothing to them. Sad to say, is nothing to them. That's going to be the beginning of a chastisement that no one will ever forget. But unfortunately, that's the way the world is right now. And it's in this country. It's in this country. So, and you have things rising in this country that you would think wouldn't rise, but unfortunately, it's taking hold, it's taking place, and it will reach some pretty high levels, right? So all those people, there's going to be some life-altering events that will take place. We're right at the door of that. I personally believe that the Lord has been giving us examples. I do. I think he has given us examples of some things that are coming. We have celestial troubles coming. We have troubles from the oceans. There will be a point where no one will be able to be on a boat, probably in 2026, because the winds are going to be too high, sustained. Back in the 12 to the 1400 or 1200s, the earth went through, I believe it was 13 years of darkness. Imagine that.
Wow.
Because something hit the earth. They know that there have been recovery efforts of everybody's looking for craft, but there have been recoveries of rocks, of leftover metals, right? There are craters all over the earth that have been left here after 70 AD. And it's almost like they don't want people to know, what was in them. So the fact is this, that we have been hit over and over and over again by things that have decimated large populations over and over again.
Yeah, I know that's true.
It won't stop. It's not going to stop. In fact, we're about to go into a heavy part of it yet again. And so I can these meteor showers that everybody knows about, what people have forgotten about as we go through those every single year, right?
Yes.
But we go through different parts of them every single year, and we're getting to the thick parts of those meteor showers. There are going to be some massive consequences. We have a 2 million mile wide wall of rocks we're headed towards, which is headed towards us. There's no evasion from that. So we're going to have some bad consequences, right? The ocean chemistry is changing. What's that going to do to life in the ocean?
It's going to change it.
Yeah. And the Gulf of America is a tinderbox. It's a tinderbox. And the Atlantic is giving way, right? Africa, the Eurasian plate, Africa, all of that always adds pressure on the UK plate because the UK sits on the Eurasian plate. And anytime that African plate moves or shifts up, it causes rumbles in places where there shouldn't be. And by the way, people know about that rumble too, because China did some tests where they induced some earthquakes in that region.
Let me ask you,
that was a long time ago.
Well, we had a 3.3 earthquake hit the United Kingdom today. There's no plate in the United Kingdom. So could there been some type of test, or could Russia, because it's funny because it happened the day after Putin said, I'm ready for war with Europe. I'm just asking.
Well, if you look at all the plates of the earth, right?
Okay.
All the plates of the earth, the ocean sits on top of the plates with land masses. Right at the if you look at the Eurasian plate, which is quite is quite big, and the African plate.
Mhm.
You're going to find your answer. Now, Putin had some experiments on, 42 million people that live in Siberia with nuclear weapons a long time ago when he affected the African plate purposely, right? That was an experiment. So he could do that at any time he wants. Also, there was an eruption in Africa, correct?
Yes.
So that means there was some plate tectonics at play. And if you start to look, you have to really look at the plate not the fault lines, but where the UK sits atop. They call that, is a very specific name. When you're dealing with any of the earthquakes that happen in the UK, you're dealing with not the plate boundaries. It's not what you're dealing with. You're dealing with the like a mid plate is going to be involved there. Okay, so don't think about the plate boundaries. Don't think about that. Think about the plate below that plate, or what sits below the Eurasia plate, right? That's what you have to think about, because there's massive movement in that area.